Welcome friends to a new beginning. Sure, I was trying to do some videos a while ago in Spanish, but got really caught in work and college. However, now it's time to start again by redoing or at least recording again some English audio for those of previously done videos. The first one, of course, was trying to be a kinda easy challenge, so I wanted to beat Pokémon Red with only a Mewtwo. The difference is that now I record this challenge again and I'm trying to do the same thing but with Pokémon Yellow. Of course, we all know this is more than doable, but I wanted to check if I could do it at a level under 52 and around 4 hours of in-game time, which will mean around 1 hour real time, since I am playing at 4x speed. That's basically the excuse for some late movement around my game. My emulator is actually able to record in 1x speed, even with me playing at a 4 speed though. After writing my name and my rivals, woot! Our adventures begins. And if we check Mewtwo stats, obviously the first thing that comes to the eye is that beastly 154 special stat that will let us not just deal massive damage, but handle some of the most dangerous attacks with ease. 130 base speed is also the second fastest in the game, and will grant Mewtwo with around 25% chance to inflict critical hits on the opponent. In the moveset department, Mewtwo is just absurdly broken. It does start with Psychic, one of the strongest moves in the whole game, and can even use Confusion for long trips without going to the Pokémon Center. Through level up, it can also learn some extra nice moves, but since we are expecting to beat the game before all of those, they basically do not matter. Our rules are the typical ones for this kind of challenges. Only use Mewtwo in battles, no items in battle except Pokeballs to get our HM users, no glitches except those that can be avoided, well, actually with the exception of the Pokédoll glitch that I used on Pokemon Tower to avoid getting the Sylph Scope. Of course, getting the Sylph Scope in this case could be quite easy just because getting through Giovanni and Team Rocket with a Mewtwo is just absurdly dumb. And well, the other thing that we are going to be working with is no saving between Elite 4 members. This will make us suffer a little bit because there are some battles that can... This will make us suffer a little bit more because there are some battles that can be achieved with just a little bit of luck or hacks, but come on, I am the unluckiest But since I am the unluckiest Pokemon player ever, we want consistency and watching me fail. We begin with our usual things, naming our Mewtwo, Mew, and delivering packages after beating the crap out of our rival's Eevee. After that, we can find Wood again and beat him, of course. This was done just to make him get Jolteon, which will be the worst evolution for Mewtwo to handle, since it should be the only one with any chance to outspeed and will have Pin Missile, which will be super effective and can actually deal monstrous damage if it hits too many times, especially if it does get a critical hit. After reaching Pewter City, we go against Brock, which is pretty much a joke against Mewtwo psychic attacks. We then go through Mount Moon and get the Helix fossil, just basically because it was in front of me. Jesse and James are, like in the anime, an absolute joke. After sending them to fly, Mewtwo reaches Cerulean City. And here we decide to beat Misty's mandatory trainer before going against our rival just in case. It ends up being totally unnecessary because the battle was absolutely one-sided. After Nugget Bridge, we continue beating enemies, but we actually lose some time because of our PP and because I wanted to get the PP restore item after defeating a hiker that I should have battled earlier, which make us lose some really precious time. Then, battling Misty is again quite easy. She just does not have a chance against Mewtwo. Her Staryu falls down to one critical hit Psychic, and against Starmie I use Swift, and since it does little damage while water... Against Starmie I used Swift, and does little damage, while Water Gun does next to nothing. Next turn is my critical hit Psychic against her critical hit Bubble Beam, which does less damage but lowers Mewtwo speed. However, Misty wastes her next turn with Harden, while another critical hit decides the battle. After that, we go to SS-An and battle the optional trainer just to get Body Slam, and with that another broken move for Mewtwo's set. Wood the third is hardly an improvement. The first 3 Pokemon fall to 1 confusion each, and Eevee does not fare better against a psychic attack. The next footage is just to show that miracles exist. For the first time in a lot of walkthroughs, this is the first time that I get 2 switches on Surge's Gym in my first try, and not just that, but without outgrowing any of the trainers. That's something to be proud of when you are that unlucky at playing Pokemon. The battle against Surge was not as clean as it should be, but spoiler alert, was a win nonetheless. Psychic, Mega Punch and Psychic were the only moves used in a battle that might have gone wrong if Raichu got any critical hit. After getting the TM for Thunderbolt and slapping it immediately on Mewtwo, we have another great move to deal with those pesky Slowpokes on Rock Tunnel. However, forgetting to buy repels is so annoying that make me lose time and patience at enough pace to do even more mistakes on my routing and getting to fight extra trainers that I just did not want to encounter. Whatever. After reaching Lavender Town, it's just a small step getting into Celadon Game Corner and fighting the Rocket just for 1 item, the PP up on the first basement. Then, after getting another PP up on Celadon City, we go against the Grass Gym. After beating just a mandatory trainer with an Execute, the fight against Erika goes as well as you might expect. Psychic gets a special drop against Angela, which gets then almost no damage against Mewtwo with Vine Whip. Whipping Bell, being part poison, falls just to a weak confusion. However, against Gloom, my confidence starts getting lower, when confusion does not one-hit KO and I see the stun spore coming. Fortunately, the move misses and Mewtwo picks up the slack on the next turn with another confusion. I should have done this previously, but now is the time to go to Celadon department store and getting 2 fresh water. One for the cards and the second one to get Ice Beam, which will pretty much round Mewtwo's final moveset. Also, 3 calciums and 1 Pokédoll later, we are done to get back to Lavender Town and tend to some business. The first one being the Rival, which received a series of one-hit KOs against the Firu, with Ice Beam, against Shelder with Thunderbolt, against Bullpix with a Body Slam critical hit, which probably didn't even matter, against Sandshrew with Ice Beam, and against Eevee with another critical hit Psychic. You can notice also that I don't have the Self Scope, but since I'm using the Pokédoll, that will not be an issue here. Against Jesse and James, a series of one-hit KOs destroy their Meowth, Arbok and Weezing, even with a needed critical hit in some cases. After wanting to go to Celadon City quickly, I remembered that I don't even got a flyer, so I catch a Pidgey and then battle the Snorlax, which in fact surprised me, just because it didn't get one shot by Psychic. Another surprise but even more disgusting? I forgot to grab the bike. Pedestrian? Why'd you call him Pedestrian? After handling a lot of yada with an old man and getting the bicycle, my stupidity continues when I lose a lot of time just trying to get the rare candy on Cycling Road, and encountering wild Pokemon, battering an extra trainer, etc. Well, at least I picked up the Max Elixir quickly enough. Then, in Koga's gym, the only mild issue here are the jugglers. The second one even manages to poison Mewtwo with poison gas, which I don't have any way to cure because I didn't bought any antidotes, so I went to the Poké Center to heal. Koga's battle is just lame. Psychic, and critical hit Psychic are all needed to get the Soul Badge. Our next stop was the Safari Zone, in which we picked the Gold Teeth, Yak, And then we need to drop a TM32 for double team, which I'm pretty sure we will not need at all to get HM03 Surf, which we will need for sure. Then we go to the Warden and put his teeth where they belong. Double Jack. We get then HM04 Strength, and at Sylph Co, again we are suffering from item management and we need to drop another item to get the card key. After that we get easily to Rival Fivel, shoutouts to Yay Rose, and get a one shot against Sandslash with Ice Beam. Then Ninetales proves to be a little bit more resilient after needing 2 Psychics and connecting a quick attack before going down. Cloyster drops to a Thunderbolt and Kadabra to a Body Slam, and then we get to Jolteon, which receives a critical hit Body Slam to the face, and then retaliates with a freaking 5-hit Spring Missile. Fortunately, Mewtwo hangs on and finishes the battle with another Body Slam. Jesse and James do nothing but waste 2 PP of Psychic and 1 of Ice Beam. Giovanni is not that much of an improvement, considering that the only Pokemon that took me more than 1 attack was Persian, and just wasted its opportunity with a Screech. A Slash might have done a lot of damage. But meh, who cares? Then we go against Sabrina, which should be easy considering we resist her main attacks. Abra goes down with 1 Body Slam. Kadabra needs 2. But its Psychic does not do that much damage. Then Alakazam handles a critical hit Body Slam on the red and set up a Reflect, but sadly it is too late for it to handle the next Body Slam. After that we fly to Pallet Town to swim to Cinnabar Island, then get in the mansion, obtain the gym key and the rare candy and try not to cry after some of the stupidest questions ever. I thought Blaine was going to be amazingly easy, but heck, that was far from reality. Ninetales connects a weak quick attack and then falls to 2 critical hits, one with Psychic and then the next one with Body Slam. Rapidash also survives a Psychic and gets a critical hit Fire Spin, which fortunately just gets through 2 turns and then got demolished by Mewtwo's second Psychic. While everything looks perfect now, Arcanine is where everything's fall apart. Psychic is doing around 1/3 and gets a special drop, but the doggo retaliates with Flamethrower and of course it has to get a critical hit to ignore all of that. How sad, I don't even remember where was the last time I saved. OMG, it was before battling Sabrina. That sucks. In the second battle, things with Abra and Kadabra went even better. The first one still being 1-hit KO with Body Slam, while Kadabra gets 1-hit KO too with a critical hit. Things get messy when Alakazam receives less than half with Body Slam and manages to get a special drop on Mewtwo with Psychic. I really thought Psychic could not get drops on Psychic Pokemon, but I suppose that's just for status moves. The next Body Slam is followed by a Recover, and while the next Body Slam still do not KO Alakazam, at least it did not recover it again, so it was a matter of time getting the Body Slam on the next turn. Again, in Cinnabar Island we did the vitamin raid of the mansion and then get the second try against Blaine, which actually didn't even go better than the last one. Ninetales needs 3 turns this time to fall down and connects with 2 quick attacks and a Tail Whip. Rapidash receives a critical hit from Psychic but still hangs on to try a Growl, but falls prey of the next Psychic. While it seems like Psychic is doing a little bit more damage this time and Flamethrower do not crit, the next turn Mewtwo can't handle the following takedown and falls again. At least this time I managed to save in front of Blaine, and after deciding on getting 1 level higher on his trainers, I battled him for the 3rd time. Ninetales is welcomed by a Psychic to the face, doing less than half and responding with Tail Whip. A quick attack, a Psychic with special drop, and a Body Slam later and we are against Rapidash. Psychic does decent damage again, and Rapidash gets a light Fire Spin that does only 8 damage each turn and lasts for only 3 turns, after which we destroy it swiftly with another Psychic attack. Arcanine this time decides to play nice, and while attacks with Flamethrower the first turn, this time decides not to critical hit, and in the second turn just uses Reflect, which means 3rd time is a charm for Blaine. Giovanni is the last leader, but sadly, his team can't do anything against Mewtwo. Dactrio falls to Ice Beam, and the next three Pokémon, Persian, Nidoqueen and Nidoking, are just destroyed by critical hit psychics. Rhydon, however, survives an Ice Beam and deals massive damage with Earthquake. Sadly for Giovanni, not massive enough to beat Mewtwo. Now we are reaching the endgame, and Rival 6 is our first of the last encounters, and the preparation for what we are going to get in the league. Sandslash and Execute are beaten by an Ice Beam each, and Ninetales manages to connect with both a Tail Whip and a Quick Attack despite receiving a critical hit Psychic before falling to another critical hit, this time from Body Slam. Cloyster is easy prey for Thunderbolt, and Kadabra gets obliterated by a critical hit Body Slam. Finally, Jolteon gets paralyzed by Body Slam, but decides to get on my nerves by getting not one 4-hit Ping Missile but 2, which makes Mewtwo almost faint. At least it survived and finished the battle with another unnecessary crit from Psychic. After reaching Victory Road, we can see that Mewtwo is in such a low level that repels are not even being perfectly effective, which delays even more our road to the Elite Four. We get into Lorelei at level 44, which is absurdly low, but for Mewtwo might be more than enough. Dewgong gets outsped and smacked with Thunderbolt and missed a takedown to get defeated the next turn with another Thunderbolt. Cloyster gets one-shotted by T-Bolt, and Slowbro could do something if it did not get paralyzed by Thunderbolt and lost its turn due to paralysis. Jinx, however, got me scared when connected an Ice Punch that could have spelled doom if froze Mewtwo, but since it didn't, 2 Body Slam sealed the deal. Lapras then got a little bit over half after receiving a Thunderbolt, and Hydro Pump dealt a lot of damage to Mewtwo. Another Hydro Pump or Body Slam could spell disaster, but fortunately Lorelei AI made it waste a turn on a retroactive Super Potion, and like that Mewtwo wins. Bruno is as easy as everyone could expect when using a fast Psychic Pokémon like Mewtwo. We don't talk about Bruno, no. Oh, that sounded weird. However, Ice Beam, Psychic, Ice Beam and Psychic are all one hits against all of his 5 Pokémon. Agatha does not fare that much better because all of her Pokémon are also weak to Psychic. However, her Gengars have a decent enough special to withstand one Psychic from full. Sadly, she wastes her only 2 opportunities by using Leak, a ghost move that in this generation is 0% effective against Psychic Mons, and then by receiving a critical hit to the face on her second Gengar. Lance is, like Bruno, another series of one-hits, Gyarados with Thunderbolt, both Dragonairs with Ice Beam, Aerodactyl with another Ice Beam with a critical hit included that I don't know if it was needed, and Dragonite with another Ice Beam that didn't even need it to crit. Finally, the last challenge of this run is here, and Mewtwo is 12 levels weaker than his weakest mons. However, that do not matter to Mewtwo, which manages to one-hit KO Sandslash with Ice Beam, and Alakazam with a critical hit Body Slam. Executor then manages to handle one Ice Beam, but it just deals a pathetic 16 damage with a 2-turn barrage. Executor then manages to handle one Ice Beam, but it just deals 16 damage with a 2-turn barrage. Cloyster gets beaten by a critical hit Thunderbolt, and then it comes to Ninetales, which just manages to be resilient enough to handle 2 Psychics in a row and gets a retroactive Fuel Restore. Then a critical hit from Psychic makes it get into almost the same range before locking Mewtwo in a 3-turn Fire Spin that did just 21 damage in total. Underwhelming, right? Finally, we are at such good health level that Jolteon should not be any issue, right? Wrong! Jolteon gets a critical hit Ping Missile with 3 hits for massive damage, and while Body Slam also gets a critical hit, does not get the paralysis. Jolteon hits again with Ping Missile, and stupidly enough, the game just makes it hit twice, and then Psychic finishes this outrageous battle. Then we get Mewtwo at the Hall of Fame at level 51 and in almost 4.5 hours. That time is actually pretty lame, but since this is my first run in a long time at Pokemon Yellow, I'm going to let it slide. Thanks for coming to the video, please remember to like, subscribe and comment if you liked it. See you soon!